It's all about perspective, and that's what the big picture is all about. And on this episode, that's exactly what we're going to help you see. Because there's a lot more going on in this world than you can see with your eyes and hear with your ears. That's the big picture life. And that's what we're going to talk about on this episode of The Big Picture.
This is our moment. This is our fight.
We're trying to help you understand how the enemy works and why he is doing what he's doing.
Here I am. Use me. Speak through me. Work through me.
So no matter how bad it gets, Pastor, we have a hope in Jesus Christ.
I'm not a spectator anymore. I am all in. I am your voice. I am your hands.
And we are so excited for our first ever episode of The Big Picture. I would like everyone in the Big Picture family to meet my lovely wife, Sandy.
It's great to be here. I'm so excited for our very first broadcast and just excited to see what's going to happen.
I am too. And the whole concept of The Big Picture, our book that we just wrote, I See Greatness in You, it's a story about my life, the tragedy, my abuse that I went through, but it's the story of us.
Yes.
And you know, we've lived a life of ups and downs.
Yes.
God has had his hand on us.
Absolutely, the entire time. Tragedy and triumph.
But it was your words that we detail in the book, and your words became the title of our new book called I See Greatness in You. And we were so blessed to have some friends that got some actors to portray our lives.
They did a fabulous job.
It was phenomenal.
I couldn't have imagined the sizzle reel coming out as well as it did. And they're just adorable.
And we want to invite you, the viewers, to watch this little clip here that it's just mind-boggling to us to know that we had people acting out part of our life.
We probably should
It was surreal.
touch on the fact of how emotional we were when we were watching the filming.
We were standing back
of the
watching.
sizzle reel. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was such an emotional, overwhelming moment.
Absolutely.
To think that, you know, this part of our life would be captured for the world to see.
And when I saw that young lady portraying you, grabbing my hand, a guy portraying me, saying those words that changed my life.
It was too much.
It was too much, and it was surreal. And I hope
So
that
much
it
to
blesses
take in.
you. And this is an advertisement or showing you a little bit more about our story of the brand new book that we just wrote called I See Greatness in You, that's available anywhere. But I'd like to invite you to watch this clip and see a little bit about what God has done in our life.
Yes.
You're a loser, you're a failure, you're a liar.
Stop it. Leave the boy alone.
This has nothing to do with you.
It has everything to do with me.
You shut up.
Okay, that's it. We're leaving. Do you hear me? We are leaving you.
I'm never gonna be like my father.
I know you won't, son. You're strong. You can be anything you want to be. You're gonna be all right.
My favorite shotgun.
What are you doing? Put that gun down.
Come here, Larry. Come here! Put your finger on the trigger, son.
Stop it!
Shut up! Larry, kill me. Pull the trigger. Blow my brains out. If you let your mother leave me, that's what I'm gonna do. So you might as well do it now. Either way, it'll be your fault.
Okay, we'll stay.
I hate that man. I never want to see him again. I wish he wasn't my father.
He's not.
It affected me greatly as a child, what I had to go through with my father. It's hard for me to talk about it. You know, I know many people's had it much worse than me. I'm not saying that I was abused on the level that many others are, but it affected me emotionally, it affected me mentally, and it affected what kind of husband I was and father, things I had to learn. So even in the stage of my grandfather world that I live in now, sometimes it's as cheesy as it sounds, I still feel like that little boy at times, and I've learned over the years I don't think that will ever leave me, and honestly I really don't want it to. I'll be honest with you, I really don't. I feel like it keeps me focused on what I want to be as a man.
Larry, you've got to pay your bills. Can't you see what you're doing to yourself? Who are you hanging out with every night?
Just leave me alone.
Larry Ragland, as long as you're in this house, you have to tell me what you're going to do.
You don't want to know.
Where do you go every night, and what are you doing?
It's none of your business.
Okay, that's it. Get out of my house.
It's the middle of the night.
I said get out.
Why are you doing this?
You're just like your father.
Larry and I first met in algebra class, I think my first year in high school.
I met my wife, Sandy, around, it was in the mid-'80s, and I met her in school.
You just formed the opinion and idea, this person has to be the loudest person in the room and the center of attention.
My whole life, because of what I've been through, I had to cover up the pain. So I was the funny guy, I was the jock, I was always trying to be the center of attention.
When Larry started opening up to me and I could see things about his home life, I could see, dysfunction.
I met her family, and her family was like the perfect family that I just only dreamed that somebody could live in.
There were problems between his parents in the past. There were issues presently.
So I thought, this is the package deal. I mean, this is everything that I never dreamed I would ever have in my life. I've now got it. But the problem was I was still me, and I was still a fraud.
Are you kidding me? What were you thinking? All of this over 3 rented VHS tapes? Look at me, boy! Why didn't you just return them?
Sandy, I want you to go. You deserve so much better than me. I'm not the man you thought I was. I've lied to you, deceived you. I promise you I'll never speak badly of you. I just want you to be happy. So please walk away. I promise you I'll never hold it against you.
I'm not leaving. I'm not going anywhere.
Sadie, you heard and saw what just happened in there. I haven't been honest with you on many levels. Why would you ever want to stay with me?
I see greatness in you.
I had never, ever heard those words before. Everything in my life changed with those 5 words. Sandy and I, we are partners to the core. Every single thing we've ever done in life, we've done it together. And here we are 26 years later at this point, pastoring this church, over 30 years of ministry and still going strong. And certainly because of what I came from, I'm driven to help the underdog, to help the abused. And our heart is, as many years as we got left together, we're going to enjoy our grandkids, we're going to enjoy our time together, but this phase of our ministry we feel like God's going to use to impact more lives than we ever dreamed. So yeah, we're just getting started.
Wow, Sandy, it always gets me every time we see that. I mean, that's our life, but still seeing it just makes us relive that moment.
Every time. So emotional.
So emotional. And for our viewers, to give you a little backstory about how I got to that point where those 5 words meant so much to me, is I detail in the book, I See Greatness in You, about how I was raised in an extremely abusive home. And really no one knew up until that moment other than my mom and you and a few others. You didn't even know the full truth.
No, I did not.
You didn't even really know what I'd been raised in. But my father had abused me physically, he abused me verbally, had basically destroyed me mentally.
Emotionally, so many wounds, emotional.
So many wounds.
In an emotional way.
And the pattern is, and we've seen it being pastors, that quite frankly, the thing that you hate the most, you'll become.
Yes.
And
you want to put it aside, and some people are able to push it down, but it affects you, and you carry that with you.
Absolutely.
And it can pop out and reveal itself at some of the most inconvenient moments.
Yes, and if you're watching at home and you were raised in a abusive home, you understand that one of the great attributes, I would not say great, but horrible attributes of someone who's abusive is an ability to manipulate and to lie.
Yes.
And so, like I said, you'll become that. And
absolutely.
I said so many times, there's one thing I know for sure, I'll never become that man, but I became that man. Yeah. I didn't become violent, but I became a manipulator,
I would
a liar.
say becoming.
I was becoming.
You were becoming.
Without God coming in my life, I probably would have taken on the violent attribute as well.
And that's nothing, against you as a terrible, terrible indictment. It's just what happens so often.
Yes. So what I became was throughout high school, I became that manipulator, that liar. Yes. And I was really good at making sure everybody thought my life was great. And somehow, that worked on you. And you are this young, beautiful girl. I happen to think the most beautiful girl in the entire school. Oh, and I thought, wow, I can't believe that I've hit the jackpot with this young lady. And I somehow convinced you, manipulated my way into getting you to say yes to marry me. But the problem was, we know the rest of the story, and those that read the book know, the man that you said yes to was not real. It was a fake, it was a lie. And just before we got married, I got arrested, and for some stupid thing that I did. But when I stood before the judge,
utterly ridiculous thing that you did.
That I did. But I did get arrested. I do have street cred. I have a record. But as I'm standing before the judge, he said, "Are you kidding me? Are you serious?" And I didn't really even hear anything else he said, because all I could think about was standing outside was that young girl that didn't know any of this, that now knew the truth, and it was over. And I walked outside. I'm not looking at you right now because you're going to make me cry. But I walked outside, and there you stood, right out of high school. And I told you, I said, "Sandy, I need you to turn around and walk away, because you deserve a real man, and I'm not that real man. And I'm going to destroy our lives because now you know the truth." Yeah. And you grabbed my hand, and you looked at me, and you said, "I'm not going to leave you." Yeah. And I said, "Why would you stay with somebody like me?" And you said,
"Because I see greatness in you."
You did.
Yeah.
She said, "When I look into your eyes, I see greatness in you. Yeah. And you don't see it, but I'm going to help you see it. And I'm going to stay with you until you see it." And no one, my mother, I love my mother. She's with the Lord now. Yes. She was a great mother, but no one had ever really said anything like that to me in my life. And I was 20 years old, and I realized there is something in me that's potential. And it was your words that helped me see that.
I'm so thankful for the relationships that you had with your mother, with your grandparents, with a few extended family members that did love you.
Yes.
And, they were kind and compassionate towards you and accepted you. But it is sad that we didn't feel released or understand back in those days, just being hardworking, solid people, how to invest into people's lives, young people, our peers, older people. We didn't know to say those words, how they could help. But
well, the Word.
I know that you had that foundation of love.
Absolutely, and the Word of God tells us the power, life, and death that's in our tongue.
Yes, it is.
But we were so young, we
true.
didn't even realize the power of that moment.
No.
And when you said, "I see greatness in you," I say it in the book, 5 words that changed my life.
Yes.
And I want everyone that's watching this, if you have ever been touched or changed by the words of someone else, or even broken by the words of someone else, I want you to watch this little advertisement here. I want you to watch this commercial here for our book, because we want you to get a copy of "I See Greatness in You."
You're a loser? You're a failure. You're a liar.
Where do you go every night? And what are you doing?
It's none of your business.
Okay, that's it. Get out of my house.
What were you thinking? Look at me, boy. Why didn't you just return them?
I just want you to be happy. So please walk away.
I'm not leaving.
Why would you ever want to stay with me?
I see greatness in you.
I had never, ever heard those words before. Everything in my life changed with those 5 words. I'm driven to help the underdog, to help the abused. This phase of our ministry, we feel like God's going to use to impact more lives than we ever dreamed. So yeah, we're just getting started.
So, you know, we talk about the big picture. The show is called The Big Picture. It's all about perspective.
And it's a perfect name.
It's the perfect name.
It really is.
You know, and I detail in the book that, you know, how God changed my life with that.
Yes.
You know, I just was thinking about something going on in our family, and I was just tore up about what I was seeing in front of me, what we were experiencing. Is this ever going to end? Is this ever going to change?
Because we should probably touch on, it's a dangerous thing to have tunnel vision in a lot of instances.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to, sometimes it's about focus, but tunnel vision can be a negative thing.
Yeah, you know, we live in a world, but we're not of this world. And we have 5 senses, and we are always driven by those senses in the natural. What we see, what we hear, what we feel. And so I'm looking in this situation and that we're going through in our family, and it was all focused on what I could see and what I could hear.
Yeah, the here and now.
The here and now. And then all of a sudden it was like the Lord just stopped. I was on a lawnmower, riding a lawnmower, just listening to music,
I
talking
tell
to the Lord.
everybody, you can get you can work out the problems of the world on the lawnmower.
You better believe
can't
it. I got some of my greatest sermon
That's
series
right,
in my
really
church
have.
on the lawnmower. And I felt the Lord stop me, and he just said, let me show you a principle that's going to change your life.
Yes, he did.
Let me show you this situation, and I want to ask you a question. Do you really think that it's going to look just like this 5 years from now?
Yes.
He said, my perspective is I can see beyond this. That's when you got to trust me. The big picture changes everything, and it changed everything because I realized that no matter what it looked like or sounded like, I knew, even though I don't know the future, I knew it was not going to look like that 5 years from now.
That was a powerful moment for you.
Absolutely.
You needed that.
I needed
We
it.
both needed different things at different times. Thankfully, we were on different pages at different times concerning that issue because had we both been at that place at the same time, it would have been devastating. But I was at a better place, but you really needed something. You needed to see that situation in a different light.
I needed hope.
You needed hope. You needed
beyond what I was
the
seeing.
picture to expand out and not be tunnel vision and so narrow. You needed to see the big picture.
And you know, and it's almost like a sermon. You know, you got point 1, point 2. So that was the sermon title to me. And then it wasn't long after that, I was driving through our little hometown there that has a train track that comes through it. And I was just thinking about this whole thing that God has shown me. And I got stopped by the train, like happens so many times. And it always happens when you're in a hurry.
God can use anything, Penny.
He can use anything.
He can use anything.
And you know what he does? He loves to use them when you're the most frustrated, because that's when you're taught the most.
Yes.
So I'm on my way, I'm already late, and ding, 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 it comes down, and I'm sitting there, and I'm watching this train come. And I'll never forget it. The way it is in where we live in Alabama, there's a lot of hills and mountains. It may be different where you're watching at home, where you've got more of an open view where you can see the whole train. But in Alabama, you can't see the whole train.
You rarely can see the whole train.
You can only see like a few cars at a time. So it's like, and there's a bend. And they just kept coming. They just kept coming. So I'm in my mind, I'm telling myself, there is an end to this train. But I don't have any idea where it is.
Can't see it.
So all I could do was wait. But then I got to thinking, if I had one of those cars, one of those DeLoreans like in Back to the Future, where I could just go straight up, what would happen, Sandy, is it would change my perspective.
It would.
Because the higher I could get above those trees, I could look over and see the end from the beginning. And I thought, that's what God was trying to tell me, is that his perspective is he sees the end from the beginning. He knows where the caboose is,
He does.
not just where the engine is. So it's my job to sit there at that train track and trust that God sees the big picture.
That's where that little thing called what? Faith?
Faith.
Has to come in?
The substance of things hoped for and the evidence, you're right, of
Absolutely.
things not seen.
Yeah, how many of us are lacking in that?
Absolutely.
We need more faith.
And that's what moves God. Why does it move God? Faith moves God because that's us aligning our life
Right.
with a realm that's outside of our realm. That's why we call it the big picture.
Absolutely.
And God, I remember asking you so many times over the years, I'll say, Sandy, what would make a high school girl say something so profound?
Sure.
You didn't rehearse those words.
No, absolutely.
What would make you say something with such a big picture perspective of that moment?
Well, you have to have a relationship with God. It's so very important. And I've told you before, that wasn't me.
No.
God dropped that into my spirit. He dropped that into my mind in that moment, just in the split second. It just came to me. It came out. And
it was a big picture moment.
it was really a pivotal moment in our lives.
Absolutely.
But God gave that to me, and He allowed me to broaden my perspective and broaden what I could see in that moment, something that I was already feeling but did not even know how to verbalize. God gave me those words that I could see greatness in you. I mean, people didn't even talk like that back then.
No.
Nobody talked like that.
Nobody talked like that.
Least of all, a girl that had not even been out of high school for very long, that no life experience. What do I know about love or even people, the depth of someone? But God literally dropped that in my spirit, and He let me see and feel that in that moment.
Because that was God showing us, right now, this is all you think. Your whole world is surrounding around this moment. But I'm trying to tell you that I've called you to impact the world. I've called you to something bigger than you can even dream. Because we had never had one discussion about ministry.
No.
There was no desire for ministry.
We attended church faithfully. We sang in the choir on Sunday morning and all of that. And we, pictured ourselves being married, having a
Just
family,
living the American dream,
going to church,
that was it.
being involved in sports for the children, all the normal stuff, but never, you're going to have a life of ministry.
But it was like God was like, we laugh at it now because it was like God was saying, you think that's what
He was laughing at us.
He was laughing at
he was. Kicked back.
He was like, if you only knew.
No idea.
If you only knew my perspective. If you only knew the real big picture.
Right.
But I need this moment right now. Because if this moment doesn't happen, you guys don't make it. And if you guys don't make it, you're not sitting at a table in Indianapolis in a studio. You're not making it through that screen. If this moment don't happen, none of the rest happens.
And let's expand that out into the big picture to talk about, if we don't exist, how many people did we never impact?
Exactly.
How many lives did we ever touch?
But I know, but Sandy, I got to say this because you're so right, because I can feel it. I can feel it in my spirit right now that people are watching this right now going, but that's y'all. That's Larry and Sandy Ragland. Look at you guys. I'm not that type of person. I could never do that. Let me tell you, if you only knew Larry and Sandy back then, you would know that nothing, absolutely nothing that you think about yourself disqualifies you from greatness.
God has a great plan and purpose for each and every one of us.
Do you know what I say about that book? One of the opening parts in our book, I say Greatness in You, and I believe it's in the introduction. I talk about the power of your words, Sandy, about how they were so big picture moment, not just for me. They were big picture moments for you. That was something releasing in you, because if you would have turned around and walked away.
Because of my relationship with God, that was funneling through me. I was a conduit at that moment.
Absolutely.
But I'll expand a little further on that moment. It wasn't just you and me in a relationship aspect.
No.
It was, I wanted, what I felt like when I was saying those words to you, one of the things that I wanted to express is, you need to see yourself.
Yes.
And you need to understand that you personally, there is something, and I couldn't, pinpoint it, but I just knew there was something in you that needed to come out.
And here's the power of words. That God used you to speak that into my life, but it was also God using those words to speak it into your life. And let me just say to the viewers right now, I know what some of you are thinking, and what I say in that introduction is not everybody has a Sandy. And I thank God that I have a Sandy. There is a level of potential and greatness that is in all of us, because the DNA of greatness is in all of us. And we can see some of it, but we can't see all of it. We need somebody.
God doesn't want you to see all of it from the beginning.
And you
It'd
can't.
be too much.
And you can't, but here's the thing. Everybody don't have a Sandy like I was blessed. But you need someone. And that's why we wrote this book. for the book to be your Sandy. And I'm telling you, when you read this book, the words of I See Greatness in You, you're going to understand the big picture was not just for me. They were for you as well. Get a copy today of I See Greatness in You, and I believe it will change your life forever.
You're a loser, you're a failure, you're a liar.
Where do you go every night? And what are you doing?
It's none of your business.
Okay, that's it. Get out of my house.
What were you thinking? Look at me, boy. Why didn't you just return them?
I just want you to be happy. So please walk away.
I'm not leaving.
Why would you ever want to stay with me?
I see greatness in you.
I had never, ever heard those words before. Everything in my life changed with those 5 words. I'm driven to help the underdog, to help the abused. This phase of our ministry, we feel like God's going to use to impact more lives than we ever dreamed. So yeah, we're just getting started.
This has been so exciting, our very first ever broadcast, and I just want to appreciate everyone for joining us, supporting us, praying for us. Most especially, we need those prayers. And we want to keep coming back each and every week into your homes and spending time with you, so we hope that you will continue to join with us.
Thank you, and I want to echo your words as well. Everything we do it for God. We do it for the kingdom.
Absolutely.
But we're able to do what we're doing here in this studio because of you. Yeah. And many of you have sown, you have given from all over the world. Sandy, we have people supporting this television ministry on the very beginning from Australia, from the United Kingdom, from different places around the world because they watch us on our YouTube channel.
It's so amazing to see a new one each and every week.
It really is. And they found us on YouTube, and we announced on our YouTube channel, which by the way is also called The Big Picture, and we said, we want you to know an opportunity has come for us to go on Christian television and reach millions of lives, and they stepped up and they were a part of it. They bought our book.
Made it happen.
They've just been this, we call it the Big Picture family. Yes. And we're so excited that you now, right there in your home, watching on your streaming device, on your television, listening in your ears as you're working outside, whatever it is, you have become a part of the Big Picture family. And we thank God for you because we can't do it without you. We want to encourage everyone to go to our website, LarryRagland.com. Very easy to remember, LarryRagland.com. If you'd like to know more about our church in Birmingham, Alabama, you can go to SolidRockChurch.com, watch our sermons, be a part of everything that's going on. So we want to say from the bottom of our heart, thank you for joining on this opening episode of The Big Picture. Yes. And we want to remind you that no matter what has been told to you or what's going on in your life, we see greatness in you. God bless you and have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching this episode of the Big Picture TV show. We are so excited to be a part of the BGTV network. And the way that you can partner with this great network is to go to bgtvstudios.com. Partner with them there, and I suggest becoming a monthly partner because this is great ground to sow your seed into. If you'd like to know more about our ministry, go to LarryRagland.com, and we are excited that you have joined us today. We'll see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel on whatever platform you are watching. God bless.